Hi, thank you, David, for having me. Thank you, everybody. I'm so nervous to speak about this, and I'm definitely no expert in breaking glass ceilings. I don't even know if I've broken my own one yet. So I've decided just to tell you my story. I come from a little country in the middle of Europe. It's called Czech Republic. It's very pretty, and this is how my country would like me to look. I did a little bit of research, and I put in Google, I put the word Czech women, and it gave me a whole lot of dating sites for foreigners. And it said, the very first sentence of all of them was that unlike the women from America, Czech women are not spoiled by feminism. And it's a very good place to go and find yourself a spouse. So I searched for Czech fashion, and this is what it gave me. We don't really go out dressed like this. I wanted to tell you not to believe everything you hear about Czech Republic or what you read in the media. There's a lot of bollocks out there. We were behind the Iron Curtain until '89, and we went to the other extreme of abolishing all of our national borders in 2007. It's quite a nice country to live. We're like the world capital of castles. A lot of them are built of human bones. And we have given the world some stuff like contact lenses, Semtex explosives, lightning rods. The word robot comes from Czech language, and it means forced labor. Some of our politicians are really big fans of the Avatar, and Prague is the home country of the Budweiser. About 40 NHL players come from Czech. And we have the highest cancer death rate, beer consumption, and number of hospital beds per capita worldwide. Our national sport is mushroom hunting. If you've ever tried that, it's really good fun. Something about Czech where we have this fetish about expressing ourselves with art and statues, and some are just like a little bit weird, some are futuristic, awkward. There are a lot of spooky statues around Prague. Some are quite angry and political, penile, and feminine. This is my favorite one. It was in the garden of the house I used to live in. It's called brown nosing. So back to my story. I promised to my grandmother to be a doctor when I was about 3 years old, and everything went well. Went to good school, became a doctor, and then things started to get a bit funny when I decided to be a surgeon. And I got a whole lot of advice why I shouldn't be a surgeon. Some were from older surgeons, some were from good friends of mine. And I know they all meant it like really well for me, but I find it hard to listen to them. I just ended a career of a top athlete. I was happy. I thought the world belongs to me, and I got myself a job in this big hospital, and I just thought this is all just one big practical joke. I got asked all these weird questions, and my boss-to-be back then asked me if I can be used in a horizontal manner. And I was like, what is this guy doing? This is not happening. So I didn't listen, and I did try to become a surgeon. And I used to be training hard. I had no free time ever, so going from sport to surgery actually was quite a smooth transition. I worked my 100-hour hospital weeks. I did my research. I just became a freak. I read everything I could. I tried to learn everything I could. I went to these meetings. I became one of the co-authors of the closure guidelines. And my colleagues hated me for it because I was happy and I was so successful, and started the course of changes that triggered were quite interesting. I was disallowed to smile at work. I actually got like an official order not to display any signs of happiness. And they said it makes them feel like I'm laughing at them, not with them. So I wasn't allowed to show I'm happy at work. When the closure guidelines were published, our department has made their own rule where small stitch was disallowed. Everything had to be done in a large bite technique because Barbara said it should be small bites, so okay, just do whatever you want. And I thought, well, what is this world? Where am I? I was still quite strong. I had a lot of resilience, and so I came to a conclusion that I must be a psychopath. And after 8 years of living like this, I've slowly lost everything. I lost myself. I was depressed. I was diagnosed with systemic lupus. I was on high doses of prednisone. I was on sertraline. I probably was borderline suicidal, and I was blaming my gender for it. And I just thought, what am I gonna do? I don't want to live like this. I don't want to die like this. I was even scared to resign my job. And then this hernia family came along. Actually, it was there the whole time. That's why I lasted 8 years. I think otherwise I would have given up after 1 or 2. And they've basically pulled me out of it. And with their help, I quit my job. I got finished my residency elsewhere. I became a board-certified surgeon, and I got trained in abdominal wall reconstruction, and it was all done online, on the phone, via telecommunication. Philip Moissons actually started calling himself my midnight helpline. It's how he answers his phone when I call him. And I got back on track. So I have my new job, new boss. It's a very nice boss. And I get a lot of advice still, but it's different sort of advice. So when I operate now, I do these big reconstructions, and there's nobody there with me. The guys are forced to stay in the OR for these long hours and do some abdominal wall reconstruction with me. They hate me because they think it's just a hernia. Why do I make so much fuss about it? Why do I try to prove that hernia surgery is even a surgery? It's not even worth mentioning. So I looked into the history of womankind seeking for answers, and I found out a lot of interesting facts. After a long era of no women, I don't know how did we reproduce as humankind, but there were no women there. The early women were probably quite dopey, and but on the contrary, being a surgeon, I don't really need 60 sewing patterns. I can do it 3. That's all I need. So I could have been an early woman. There was a lot of men studying women, and they came with some great discoveries. They're very clever guys. And I must say my personal sense of disappointment is very developed. And I still have a couple of milk teeth, but I'm scared to say it to my colleagues. What surprised me the most, or a lot, was the obsession of some men with female genitalia. There was a lot of science or research dedicated to it, and I'm very happy I'm not in a divorce with my husband. I don't suffer epilepsy or cancer, but however, I've stopped buying Kellogg's cornflakes. Just can't even look at that box anymore. What I didn't know that female genitalia could become a form of obsession even for aliens. Not a male one, just the pudendal cleft was apparently quite important. Science has gone a long way, and nowadays I can go for a jog and I don't risk a permanent loss of virginity. I can swim in a swimsuit that doesn't have to protect me from loss of honor, and I'm allowed to spread my arms when I swim. I can wear trousers. And I actually did do sports when I was younger. I didn't just have to look and clap. And I admire all these fallen women, all these brave women who, despite risking anemia and descended uterus, learned how to read and write. They gave birth to shriveled children. That was the price they paid. I admire Queen Victoria, and after hearing the stories about Queen Christina, I sort of thought maybe I'm a hermaphrodite myself. And I'm very grateful for my hospital uniform that allows me to sit down on a chair normally, and I can reach the operating table. And it's all actually relatively comfortable clothing compared to what the older women used to, or the earlier women had to go through. What the literature told me is that all I need is penis envy treatment, but luckily there has not been developed. One has not been developed yet. We've gone a long way since the days of Miranda Stewart, and but things are not right yet. And it's not only Czech Republic where things are not right in surgery. The problem is worldwide. And example of this Japanese university is it's quite shocking that something like this can happen in 21st century. So do female surgeons do a worse job than male ones? I haven't found any scientific evidence for that, and I've searched a lot. There's just nothing there. But what is there is that there is a whole lot of more important men than women out there, and women just missing. And again, it's not only a case of Czech Republic. These are all American articles, if you just put it in Google, all this stuff comes out. And 30%, it's a big number, and it's something that we should be aware of and make sure it doesn't happen, at least in close vicinity of us or in the area that we can influence. This is the situation in Czech Republic. If I've shown this slide at home, I would lose my job the same day, so please don't tell anybody. It's quite shocking. It's only 10% of women that enter surgery, despite 60% of medical students or medical graduates being female. We have the largest gender pay gap in Europe, and currently there is not a single female professor of surgery in my country. And I told my boss one day, I said to him, look, I'm going to be the first one. And he's a really nice guy, but he's never heard a better joke. He just started laughing. He said, Barbara, you're so funny. This is great. So I tried to educate my colleagues about this, and they just labeled me with an ultra-left feminist, but they kind of are a little bit scared of me now, so they leave me alone. And the message of my story is that you can't win by fighting the system, but you need to rewrite the rules, because if the rules say you just can't succeed, you have to find a way how to get around them. And the international collaboration and the amount of support you can get from groups abroad is so enormous and so great for anybody that you can actually cheat the system by going out of your country. And one example, I'm just starting a robotic hernia program in my hospital that my colleagues don't even know about, because Philip Moissoms have set me up with the right people that know the right people that made it possible. And there are ways, but they are not usually the easy ones to approach. In 2023, I'm going to host the European Hernia Society conference in Prague. So I hope all the Czech people, Czech surgeons, by then will realize that it's not just a hernia, that actually hernia is a surgery. It's not something that could be done at a front door. And that these hernia patients are actually real people with real needs. And I was told, or the instructions said, I have to have a disclosure slide. And it has to be up for at least 7 seconds. So I don't have any disclosures other than those. Thank you for your attention.